Welcome to our sunrise safari. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day here at Djuma, and hopefully one that will be filled with lots of promise. My name is Tristan. On camera today I've got Senzo. Hello Senzo. Now this is live, it is interactive, so hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or YouTube chat should you want to get hold of us, or if you want to let us know about anything. I believe Damcam may be down at the moment, but maybe you saw something early last night around Damcam. You can let us know on hashtag Safari Live or YouTube chat, like I said. Right, the plans for this morning, I'm not really sure. I think it's a situation where maybe after Halloween the animals might just be having a little rest. Maybe they partied too much. I know Pooji partied too much. Pooji's somewhere here looking a bit worse for wear, still in his Halloween costume. He was obviously out all night last night, being the life of the party, because, well, he's a speaker and he just causes a bit of music, and so cape's a bit twisted. There's a kind of a bit of it feeling off on the back here, so I think Pooji is definitely going to have a little sleep in while we're on drive this afternoon. I don't think he's going to make it the whole way through drive, definitely not the battery anyway. And so we're going to try and have a look around and see what there is. I think I'm going to go to Hyena Den just to start off the morning. I haven't really heard anything. Get rid of the spider web as well. So I haven't really heard anything during the night or this morning. I didn't hear any roaring or sawing or any of the above. So Hyena Den, I think, to start, and then from there we're going to take it as it comes and see what we can find. Should be a good morning though. It's a beautiful day. We've got a little bit of cloud cover that was kind of over to start the day, but that's all sort of shifted and separated, and now it is just the most exquisite sunrise, and then the sun is quite warm already, so it's going to be, I think, quite a hot day again today, much like what we had yesterday. So hopefully it will be a busy one and lots will be around. I'll check the western side, I think, for the Nkuhumas as well. That's what I think I'm going to do. I've made up my mind now. After I've done Hyena Den, I'm going to check down west and then, well, down to the south, see if there's any sign for Hosana. He wasn't found yesterday. He was seen the night before at the dam, at Gari Dam, and then he wasn't found yesterday, so hopefully we can maybe find him today. It would be nice to catch up with our young lad and see what is happening. Now Aubrey is getting going for the morning, so I'll just tell him I'm heading to Hyena Den so I don't ruin his plans. Good morning, Orbs. Mobile just going towards Misikaya, and that's it. So there we go, that's all sorted, we don't have to worry about that. Now the nice thing also is that yesterday Rexon, who was busy on his tractor, and it is a picture, I'll try and get a picture at one stage of Rexon and to show you all what he actually looks like on his tractor. It always makes me, so any tracks on top of them will show up perfectly. They'll be powdery, they'll be fresh and crisp and clean, and that's going to be wonderful. Ooh, okay. So James and Karen, James, you say Tingana was on the dam cam, and Karen, you say it was about 6 hours ago that you had sawing. Now, as much as I love to track Tingana and as much as I love to find him, 6 hours is rather a long time for that cat. He tends to, I don't know, put on his jet shoes and fly around here because he moves so quickly. But I'll go and have a little look around. I'll scratch around and see. Maybe he is still around. You never know. He could be on a kill. He could have found some sort of food. He could have found another leopard in the form of a female that has kept his attention. Who knows? It's worth going to go and have a little look. But we know that with him, he can move and can walk through this property in the space of about 3 hours, so 6 is quite a long time, but hopefully he's managed to find something and some sort of food and we can then get him. Right, now last night one of our team got tricked in Halloween. Bug flew into her eye. She was suffering. She had to pull out and go home early in injury time, and so let's go across to Taylor McCurdy, who I believe is donning a pair of sunglasses, and I hope it's not because her eye is hurt.
Good morning, everybody. Look at the most beautiful sunrise we have today. Shining to start the show. Good morning, my name is Taylor, and on camera with me today is Jahawi, and we also have a joker lurker just on the outskirts over there, Scott, who is just watching us at the moment. What are you... Scott, put your comms on secret comms. What's going on this morning? He's not ready for work. Look at this. This is Scott unprepared. Yes, if you've got 2 working eyes, Scott, you're not allowed to wear sunglasses. It's for
new sunglasses because I drove over my other ones this morning, sadly.
Oh no.
The strap came off like this, and then like this.
Oh no.
And I didn't
That's terrible.
Yes.
Luckily you had a backup pair of sunglasses. I don't have a pair of those, but I feel like I need to invest in a pair now.
Yes, there was a sale on.
There was a sale, 2 for 1.
Yes, I cashed in.
There we go. Scotty D, always hunting for a bargain. Okay, bye. We'll see you now. You'll get your chance now, Scott. You'll get your chance. So sorry, everybody. I have got my sunglasses on. The bugs basically destroyed my 2 perfectly working eyes. I don't know if I've got 20/20 vision anymore. I suspect that there must have been some form of a chemical that they have as a defense. So I don't know what it was, because we removed them out of my eyes. It was actually both eyes in the end. And then a couple of minutes later, it was burning and itching, and then they swelled up, and then it looked like I didn't have blue eyes anymore. It looked like I just had red eyes, and they were very sore this morning, so we've decided to use sunglasses. But it is lovely. Now, we haven't actually got a plan, besides the fact that we're going to head towards the east and look around Little Governors at open play. We always talk about the grass being nice and short. There's lots of animals around there, so hopefully we'll find a pride lion or 2. Scott said he's going to go towards the river, so maybe he's going to have his first sighting of Scar. He better keep a look out for him just after Hippo Pools. Actually, he must go not the river road round. He needs to go the long way around to hopefully find him. I don't think he would have gone too far with that limp. He looked very uncomfortable. Right, so we get a move on too. Let's get a move on. Okay, well, before I actually even do that, we're gonna head very slowly down the road now towards the bottom of the plain. Tristan, however, is hoping to have his first sighting. I'm not going to tell you where he's going.
Well, that's okay, Taylor, because I've already told everyone where I'm going. I said I was going to Hyena Den, so I'm going to be there in the next 20 seconds, I think. Try and check. Hello, little golden-breasted bunting. Flew away, unfortunately, but there was a little golden-breasted bunting that was looking very dapper in the morning light. The little gold chest really does shine when the light is good, and so that one was looking quite splendid. Right, hyenas, where are you? There you are. Well, there's one at least. Whether or not there's more, I'm not quite sure. Where am I going to park? I don't want to park in such a way that I block everything off from the others. No little ones there. So we've just got one adult, it seems. I don't see any signs of the little ones, but there is one lying there. It looks like a ribbon that is just having a bit of a nap and sleeping. You can see the belly is quite full, so wherever she was last night, she managed to find something fairly decent. And this won't be from the other day when we had such chaos at the den and all of these hyenas running around and them kind of after that buffalo. That would have all been digested long ago. They would have kind of put that away quite quickly. In fact, in a space of about a day, you'll find that most of that food is gone. So this is from last night, that she's got a nice full belly. This definitely looks like a content, happy hyena. Look at how round that is. It's amazing how round they actually do get. It's incredible. So it looks like it could be ribbon. I might be wrong, of course. I just want to double check with my binoculars and check her ears. Yes, it looks like ribbon. Gwen's got a little bit more tatty ears as far as I remember. But it's interesting just because I would have thought if she was here that the little ones, particularly in Timo, who seems to be a ball of energy all the time when we come here, it would have been out and running about and kind of having a suckle and just generally playing because there is an adult around. When there's no adult, they're stuck inside the den. They don't really move around too much, and so when adults are here, it's normally time to play and time to run around and time to go crazy, and that's when they kind of will come out. So I'm surprised that the little ones are not out. I don't see any signs of the two small ones or in Timo at this stage, but if this hyena is here, then they definitely are still around. Maybe they had a really good suckle and decided it's going to be better to be inside the den and not lying out. I'm not quite sure why, because the sun would be quite pleasant, I would imagine. Paula, you say water belly? Well, yes, somebody got treated last night. Maybe the trick or treat for hyenas was successful. They got far too much candy or meat in this case and have really kind of filled up. And I wonder if it's maybe still from that buffalo carcass. I was saying just now that it wasn't and that it's fresher, but I suppose the buffalo carcass might still have a little bit of nutrients on it. There might still be a few bits of meat that they might be scavenging off over a few days, and that's why she's still got a big belly. I'm not sure. It's difficult to say. What you can see, though, is that this hyena has been swimming somewhere along the line. It was in a muddy wallow. There's all the mud caked on the fur. So that's stuff that is from when they were rolling around in water. And hyenas do this regularly, particularly when they are very, very full. You'll find a hyena will run towards water, and it literally just runs into it and sits in it, and it will dunk itself in. And I think it's because of the roundness of their tummy and the fullness. Often they get quite hot, particularly like a day like yesterday afternoon, and so a little swim is the perfect way to do it. And sometimes they swim in areas that are a little muddy, and then they get this mud matted all over their fur. So I would imagine that's from last night sometime, that it kind of put her tummy into some coolish water, and that's kind of just helped with the cooling down process. Oh, she just can't get comfy. Shame, man. There we go, tucked head in, and now I think she's found the comfy spot, the sweet spot, so to speak, and to be able to have a little nap. Right, now, Taylor McCurdy, who is going down the hill and is busy on her way to the plains. There's not the only one that is out this morning. We also have Scotty D, and hopefully Scotty D is not dressed with a ridiculous skull on his face, but rather something a little bit more simple.
Good morning again. My name is Scott, for those of you who have never met me, and I'm teamed up with Manu on camera. And looking forward to this morning's adventure with all of you. It's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful day here in the Maasai Mara. And our plan is to drive along the river road. It's kind of our usual, quite a usual track. Oh, didn't notice this buffalo here, wallowing in the mud. Let's see if he continues for us. It'll be beautiful in this morning sunshine. Oh, morning, boy. Now, they'll often coat their horns in mud like this, and the reason being is that it will keep away the horn borer moth insects. Those insects still can cause trouble with living buffalo or antelope if they don't tend to the keratin sheath on their horns. And as you can see, he certainly does have quite a few insects that are quite fond of him. So by covering himself in this muddy layer, he is going to create two things: a suffocating layer, which will kill any of the insects that are already latched onto him, and a preventative layer, a crust that will prevent any other insects latching on. His friends watching on eagerly. Shame there's only space for one buffalo at this health spa, so you're going to have to wait your turn. Beautiful. Imagine starting your morning like this. Very good. So, like I said, we're going to continue along the Mara River to the south, and hopefully we're able to pick up on any signs of some lion. There's quite a few lion that hang around along there, and hopefully Scar will still be lingering in that general area. Taylor did get a glimpse of him last night. Hello, Sammy Jane. Yes, those flies are quite something, and like you say, it's not a very enjoyable scenario to be in, being covered in all of them. And we've actually been quite lucky here. We haven't had too much trouble with insects, other than poor old Taylor last night with a few bugs that flew into her eyes. And in general, the flies don't bother us too much, but we have gone through some stages where they're a bit of a pest. I think it's fair to say the Djuma summer causes more problems for us as humans with the bugs. Wonderful. Oh, the sun's just disappeared temporarily, but there's a small bank of clouds that will keep it tucked away for about, I'd say, 10 to 15 minutes before it pokes out again. I've got a fancy new modification on the car here that I'd like to show all of you. It's going to be a bit tricky because I think the steering wheel's in the way. But that right there is a spirit level. And I'm hoping that by having the spirit level there, it'll allow us as the drivers to level off the car so that the cameraman won't. So it's a little bit of a new little toy that we're going to see if it improves the efficiency of these live safaris. Very good. We're going to head along and send you back to Tristan to see what he's getting up to.
Well, our hyena is still very, very relaxed and still very sleepy, so I don't think we're going to be sitting much longer with it. Also because I have a report that there seems to be a spotted little cat that is moving into Djuma from the southern boundary. So while our hyena probably sleeps away, I think it's time for us to maybe move on and carry on. Although it does look a little bit like Gwen with that little pink left ear, but I could be wrong. Right. Although she's now popped up her head. Let's just see what she's looking at. No, back down again. So we're going to probably head off down to the southern boundary. It seems as though, like I said, that there's a little spotted cat that is crossing. Of course, nobody's down there at the moment, so we need to try and get down there quite quickly if we are to try and get there before that cat disappears. So that's going to be the modus operandi now for the next little bit. And of course, like I say, the hyena den, we've been sitting here, no sign of any of the others, of the little ones. If the little ones were out and about, I'd probably sit a little bit longer, but with them kind of sleeping, I think let's try and go and see if we can find this cat that is on the move, because if there is a cat on the move, it's not going to be long until it's probably going to go to sleep. And so we're going to just try and have a little look and see if we can get down there quite quickly. We'll have to test Rusty out a little bit and see how Rusty's doing and whether or not the gas pedal works, or accelerator as we call it here in South Africa. Senzo, how are you this morning? Very quiet behind me. Senzo's very quiet this morning. I don't know why he's so quiet. Are you okay? No, you're good. Okay. Just checking. It's an early start. Senzo's been on leave, so it's got to kind of shock to the system when you have to come back to work and you have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 4:30, depending on who you are and what you want to achieve in the mornings. But it's interesting. Just kind of the first few days takes a while to get used to. So I was just making sure he's alright on the back there. We don't want our cameraman to be too sleepy or anything like that. Also, I'm used to VM with lots of talking, so although I suppose when we're live, VM doesn't talk that much, so Senzo's just doing the same thing, keeping quiet. But we'll have a chat later and see how his night was. Right, I wonder which cat this could be now, because at the end of the day, Hosanna was seen around here 2 nights ago, and Tingana was seen last night, but this cat is coming north, and apparently it sounds like a young leopard, so I'm not quite sure who it could be. In my mind, I'm thinking Hosanna. I could of course be completely wrong, and it could be Tamba, it could be Tandi, it could be Shadow, it could be anybody really. They said young leopard, so Tamba or Hosanna would be the obvious choices, but let's go and have a little look. Let's go and check what's happening down that side of the world. I also just need to ask Aubrey if he's also heading in that direction. Aubrey. Now, doesn't sound like he's saying much to me. Maybe he's already on his way there. Or I turned him down. I don't know which one it is. No, I haven't turned him down. All is good. So they're not answering the radio just yet. I'll try and get hold of them just now and see if they're heading that direction. Ah, we forgot about this. Paula, you want to know if Senzo is wearing colorful socks. Hold on. No colorful socks, although you've got a little red tip to your socks. Show everybody your socks. Come on, Senzo. It's that time of the day. There we go. They're not very colorful. They're bush socks, but they do have a bit of red, little racing stripe red there for Senzo on this beautiful morning. But this afternoon, Senzo, colorful socks? Maybe. We'll see how hot it is. If it's very hot, no colorful socks. Senzo, I feel like in summer we need to get you something that's still colorful but is not a sock, because it's very difficult to wear socks in the summer when it's hot. So we'll have to find something else. Maybe we can get you like colorful armbands, and not the swimming type of armbands that you put and you blow up, because he'll just look really funny if he had a whole bunch of swimming armbands around. But maybe like some kind of something. Maybe we can find some sort of item. Although you do have colorful things on your wrists, don't you, Senzo? Yes, you do. You've got all kinds of things on your wrist. There's lots of things going on, which we'll delve into this afternoon. We'll get a lesson from Senzo as to what all his trinkets on his wrists are, because I need to stop for that. And, well, I'm trying to get down to the south, and stopping is probably not the best idea as we go along. What I can tell you is that the light is blinding this morning. It feels as though the sun has got a little bit of extra glare this morning and is a lot brighter than normal. I don't know why. It just feels very glary. I suppose it's also because we're driving directly into it at the moment. When we were sitting at the den it was fine, but now it's a little bit on the bright side. So I'm going to be looking forward to turning south and not having to look into the sun anymore. But I wonder which way is going to be fastest. I think maybe I might take Philemon's dip and then just shoot down Anglian track. That might be the quickest. It's the least bumps, I think. I'm not quite sure. Probably, maybe that's the way that we're going to go. I'm not 100% sure. Alright, now talking about sun in the eyes, because the sun really is sort of glaring into my eyes, and I could do with exactly what Taylor McCurdy has on her face, which is a pair of shady, trendy pieces of glass wrapped in some plastic. And so I would love to have a pair of sunglasses, but I think let's go across to Taylor and see how good she looks in them.
Justin, I think you need to try and incorporate something to do with my sunglasses in every link that you do across 20th of November, the 21st of November, Big Birding Day. I'm going to be a spoonbill with a beak that's in proportion. Tristan is going to be a bush chicken, so that could be from a Coqui Franklin to some kind of spur fowl to a guinea fowl. Actually, I would like Tristan to be a vulturine guinea fowl. I think he needs to be a bird that you could possibly find up in Kenya. That's it. Tristan, you've got to be a vulturine guinea fowl for our birding challenge, because it's got quite funky hair. Anyways, we're driving along the lugger that the Angama Pride like to lay around, but no sign of them just yet. But I'm sure we'll find them. If we don't find them here, we know that they've been quite sneaky and they've actually been hanging around a little bit further north of this area, so we'll check that side too. And then yesterday I was just about to tell Jahawi about our awesome jackal experience, and then Kirst wanted to ask for a link, so I thought, well, we can talk about it while we're live. That's what we're going to do. It was really amazing. The fact that we'd arrived and I'd said, oh cool, jackals, and I said, well, this is quite close to the first jackal den that I'd found when I arrived in the Mara. But remember, we only got to see them, I got to see them twice and that was it, and you got to see them once. It was a beautiful sighting. And then to have those young pups, and for one of them to come running towards the car. So Jahawi, this jackal from maybe 20-30 meters away, a young pup, came straight towards the car and stopped about 1.5 meters away and stared right at us for what, a couple of seconds or so. It was pretty amazing, and then turned around and went away. And then Michael, you actually identified it. You pulled up my picture and you compared it, and it has exactly the same nick in its ear from the pup that I saw. Whether it was a coincidence, I don't know, but I just thought that was absolutely magical. I'm going to sneak past you. I can't see anything yet. I don't know if there are any lions around here just yet. We're still searching for them. Lots of cars coming down here. It's a good spot to, of course, come and drive. And there's also some jackals that live around here too. I'd quite like to see some jackalas today. Maybe some side-striped jackal though, because we've been seeing lots and lots of black-backed. Maybe a different one. I don't know if they're here. I think these lions have probably pulled a sneaky, and I reckon they're further that way. So we're going to try and jump off of this road, the highway, and then head in that direction. I think we'll probably become lucky. Or the other thing that they did when I first arrived is they would sort of bounce between this lugger and then the next tree line. So that's another possibility. But I did drive around there yesterday morning, and I actually didn't see any signs of lions along that way. So I don't think that they're there. Or they could have moved. I can travel huge distances. But we'll keep searching. I think we'll be lucky. Good lion areas. Maybe, no, we're not going to the area where Scott had those 2 young males. We can always go to the marsh. I'm actually not sure about this one. Now, Umka, you're wondering if there are any birds and mammals that can only be found here in the Mara. Jahal, you've been working in this area for much longer than I have. Do you know any endemic birds specifically to this area? That's a very specific thing. You might find that there are certain birds that are endemic to Kenya and maybe don't occur anywhere else. But sure, for such a small area, it'd be difficult. Can you think of anything? I can't either, but maybe we can pass it around to Scott, because he's also been working in Kenya, so he could maybe tell you of some of those species that occur just... No, because there's pockets of forests all over Kenya, so you would find, you know, Narina trogons and the Ross's turacos and the Scallo's turaco and the African blue flycatchers and all these different things. You can find them all over. Mammal-wise, you would find striped polecats, aardvark. I'm just trying to think of the antelope and gazelle species. No, I can't particularly think of... It's a very good question, Nkuhuma. I love things like this, but maybe you can also all help us. We'll pass it around to all the guides. Tristan might know too. He spent some time up here. Be a good one to ask. And then if you know, maybe you can have a look on the interweb and give us a helping hand here and see if there's any birds specific to the Maasai Mara National Reserve and maybe the conservancies around, or if there are any specific birds that are just unique to Kenya. I'm sure there will be. Whether we'll see them in this area or not, I'm not sure. We were talking about one in Zambia. One that I know, for example, is a really good one, is the Chaplin's barbet. Remember I showed you that white barbet that looks almost a little bit similar to the white-headed barbet that I saw around camp. Now that's a bird that you won't find anywhere else except in Zambia, and in a very, very small area of Zambia too. So, yeah, most certainly. I think something like a bok makeri, I think they're endemic to South Africa. So we have a look. Let me pull over here because I'm sure there's 5,000 vehicles behind me. We can start. Oh, we can look at elephants. Hi, elephants. It's quite pretty with the hot air balloons around them. And I'm going to start searching for quickly. I just want to check a bok makeri out. That was very South African. I just want to check a bok makeri out quickly. That's terrible. Brent would be so upset with me. He already says that he teases me all the time, but I know I'm his favorite person from the Eastern Cape. So now we got to go to B. Where is the bees? Bobo, book me 590. Because that's such a beautiful bird, and I can't imagine if there'd be anywhere else. 590, we're almost there. No, it extends up into Namibia, all the way along the coast. So that's not an endemic bird. Let's find one. I'm trying to find like a special one. This is a big book that I've got. Oh, okay, so you've stumped, okay. You have stumped all three presenters on Drive this morning, so I actually want to look for lions today. How crazy is that? Well done. But now you've got to help us. Now you've got to help us do the research and find out with us. So hashtag Safari Live. Once anyone has found it, I'll have to page through this book. And I really want to find us some cats. So if we find some lions, then I will start looking. Because then I'm sitting still and I can actually, when we're off air, I can have a proper look. Okay, I'm just also checking. You'll see us often staring out the sides of our cars. Normally we don't do that here in the Mara, but it can help. Now nobody knows where these lions are, so I'm trying to find any sign, and I want to have the best chance of finding them. So even if you can find one track, just to give you an idea which direction they were going in, that's fantastic. It's a starting point, because at the moment we're just driving around aimlessly. Well, we're trying to see. Well, Jahawi's trying to spot from the distance because I can't see very far today. Chat or animal, what do you think down there? This is a game we play for those of you who've never played Chat or Animal. We basically, if we can have a look at those cars down there. The reason why I say that is because sometimes the vehicles all come together and they're either looking at an animal or they've stopped to get an update. Tough one. I'm going to go and find out and see if they're playing Chat or Animal too. I think it was a chat. I don't think there's any animals there. So while we try and find these lions and continue with our game, let's jump back on board with Scott and see what he's got to say.
So we've been making quite good distance, or covering quite good distance rather. So far, we've been driving quite quickly and haven't seen a whole bunch just yet, but we are getting into an area where there is more game. Even here up ahead there's a few zebra, and it really does fascinate me how much the animals move around in such short periods of time. You could drive here, 3 days ago and it could be filled with game, and then the next few days they all disperse into other areas. So I'm kind of, having spent a week away, just feeling Mother Nature's plans out to get a better idea of what everything's doing, but it is ever evolving. Now I'm going to use my spirit level to see if I can level the car for Manu. Oh, that's not too bad, I don't think. Not perfect, though. Tricky business. Morning. Beautiful. So all seems calm and peaceful here with this herd of zebra. And they certainly are looking quite magnificent in this morning sunshine. Diana, good to have you on board. You ask a good question. You'd like to know, what is the difference between a reserve and a conservancy? And I think a lot will depend on the country that you're in. Here in Kenya, basically, it's fair to say that both reserves as well as national parks are both quite similar in that they're usually owned by, excuse me, the Kenyan governments. Just like in South Africa, it's the same thing. Our national parks and reserves are run in general by the governments, although the Sabi Sands private game reserve is obviously privately run. Here in Kenya, conservancies generally refer to community-owned land that are, in one way or another, being used to try and conserve wildlife at the same time as the local people continuing with their business. So around the Mara Reserve and the Mara Triangle, which are the two kind of government-owned portions of the Mara ecosystem, there are conservancies, a whole bunch of them. I think there's about 5 or 6, all with quite difficult names to pronounce. Oh, some stallions working out who's boss. And those conservancies can be run in a manner of different ways. A lot of the time, local people still live on the conservancies. They still graze their wildlife on the conservancies and live side by side the animals. So essentially, I think that sums things up for you, Diane. So if you ever hear of a conservancy in Kenya, almost 99% of the time it is going to mean that it's the community's land, and the community will rent their land out to investors who build a lodge on the property, therefore bringing in security, as well as obviously not only for the animals but also for the people in those areas. So there's a lot of very remote places in Kenya where these community conservancies are doing a great job in keeping areas wild and helping educate the local people to the value of wildlife. Unlike South Africa, wildlife in Kenya, every single wild animal in Kenya belongs to the Kenyan government. And in South Africa, it's very different because as a private landowner, you can own your own zebra, rhino, lion, which means obviously private individuals have vested interest in looking after or raising wildlife. Here in Kenya, it's only really the government that benefits. So these community conservancies are a good way, an avenue for investors and conservationists to create money from tourism and then feed that money back to the rightful landowners, the communities living along them or among them. There's also no hunting in Kenya, whereas there is hunting in South Africa. So there's a few quite large differences between the conservation models in the two countries. Ah, marvelous. Well, I was about to head off anyway, and you'll be glad to know that Taylor has found something interesting.
So I think the people that we saw earlier in the vehicles were playing a game of chat and animal. because we've got both. We've got the lions. They weren't too far away. I literally couldn't see them. I saw something. I thought I'd seen something moving through the grass, and they were off to the left. But we have got the Angama llamas now, who are actually moving towards us now. You did see there were some elephants behind those lions, but there is something, hopefully something entertaining is going to happen. I can't see him just yet, but we had an encounter with a very frisky elephant bull a moment ago, and he sort of mock charged us. I was just driving very slowly and decided he's going to chase after us. I stopped, and then he stopped, and then we had words, and then that was fine. So I'm hoping that he comes in this direction, because the mood that he's in, he'll hopefully come through here like a bowling ball, and the lions will be the pins, and it could be very, very exciting. He's not in must. We'll see him in a little bit. He isn't in must. He's just, maybe he's pre-must or just after. I can't see any obvious signs just yet, but he's definitely in a bit of a boisterous mood. So we're going to keep away from him. We don't want any troublemaking elephants. Now, have you lions eaten anything in the last few days? I haven't seen you for quite some time. The last time I saw these guys, they were feeding on an eland, remember? That was sure, that feels like ages ago. They do look like they've got a little bit of a belly. There's definitely no shortage of food. Oh, no, they don't. No, they ate maybe something small the last few days, or it's just their tummy getting smaller and smaller after the big meals that they have had. But there's one of the lionesses, and they'll probably head back in the direction of their lugger in the next day or two, maybe even this evening. That's just a pity. Unfortunately, again, we're not in an off-roading area, so they're quite far away from us. And I wonder, I'm going to just change the angle of the car quickly, because I'm going to reveal the variety of animals. There's the bull I was telling you about. He's just standing off to the side now. He's actually going in the wrong direction. Hopefully, there's actually no breeze at all. It's very still this morning. And if he picks up the scent of those lions, I reckon that he's in such a mood, he'll probably come around this way. He's a big fella. He's not a young boy. So it's not like he's a 20-year-old that's, full of testosterone and can't do anything about it. He is pretty much fully grown. He'll probably get a bit bigger than that. His tusks will definitely start to grow a little bit longer. One actually looks much shorter than the other. And then there's also a giraffe just off to the right that is staring down the lions at the moment. But the lions don't seem particularly interested in them at all today. There's the giraffe. Just one. I still would love to see lions taking down a giraffe. That would, of course, be absolutely amazing. Now, these lions are not cooperating. I thought that they were going to wake up, but it seems as though they're not. They're going to sleep. They were grooming one another, but sometimes they'll also do that just before they go and have a bit of a siesta. And if that's the case, then we won't hang around here for too much longer. Like I said, they're exceptionally far away. So we'll see how this goes. Oh, wonderful. Okay, I see you've all been tweeting away with some answers. Oh my goodness. So, I believe, thank you, Fuzzman. No, I have to wait for Kirst to finish talking before I try and say this again. Okay, so thank you, Fuzzman Sparkles. You said that there were 4 endemic birds. I don't know if I'm going to remember them all, but the Sharp's longclaw, the Hinder's babbler, and there were 2 others. There was one testicular and something else, and a weaver, 2. But I'm not exactly sure, so it was quite a mouthful coming through. But that's pretty cool. I'm going to write them down, and I'll have a look in my book as well to see exactly which ones I will mark them off, and we'll add them to a bucket list, because I would love to see birds that are specifically endemic to an area that I'm not going to see anywhere else, which would be quite nice, don't you think? I think it would be a nice rarity. But our lions are just sitting out on the grass. Their heads are just, literally just above it. They're staring around. They haven't gone completely flat just yet, but that could change in a split second, in an absolute split second. Our elephant is now changing direction, though. That's good. Come this way. Would you watch him? Look at that trunk, smelling. I think he's picked up on the scent of these lions, which would be quite interesting, except he's still about 200 meters away. And if he walks at that pace, it might take him a little bit longer to get here, or he's going to go and give the giraffe some trouble. This could be a really cool size comparison, though. Look at this. So we've got the largest land mammal, and then we've got the tallest land mammal. And you can see how much taller that giraffe is. Also, though, that giraffe is going to look a little bit taller than what it is because it's standing on slightly higher ground. But typically, a fully grown elephant bull should stand anywhere between 4 and 4.5 meters at sort of shoulder height. And these giraffe, the Maasai giraffe, can get well over 18 foot. So isn't that an amazing size comparison? To see two of the world's largest land mammals standing next to one another. Of course, you can't compare, though. A giraffe weighs nowhere near how much an elephant bull would weigh. These guys probably weigh, well, southern giraffe weighs up to 1.2 tons. That'll be a big male. So I would say that a Maasai giraffe probably weighs about maybe a couple of 100 kilos more than that. So maybe anywhere between 1.4 tons, 1.5 tons, somewhere around there. Perhaps I'm being a bit generous. Maybe the weight is not too far off the southern giraffe at all. I'd imagine, though, if you've got an extra 1.5 meters on you, you'd weigh a little bit. And this elephant bull, he's not the biggest one I've seen. I'd put him at anywhere between 4.5 and 5 tons. So a relatively large fella. But nice. Hey, giraffe, your head is almost touching the top of the escarpment. No, just joking, it's far off. Very cool. He's a naughty boy. He's feeding every now and then. But he's curious about what's going on. He keeps picking up sense that trunk is working way too hard. Or he's walking the same route that the herd of elephants we saw when we first arrived in the sighting, just behind the lines. That could be the other thing. He could be tailing a female that's maybe coming into estrus. Maybe he's going to go and do his rounds and check all the breeding herds. He's just come from one breeding herd. So he could be heading to another one. That's exactly it. That you might find that a female has specifically... Well, see how he keeps putting his trunk on the ground? Yes, he is looking for small little titbits to feed on. But there'll definitely be a scent trail that's left behind that we just obviously can't see or smell. Oh my goodness, that was cool. Even the giraffe is saying, yeah, I don't like the look of you. I'm going to keep out of your way. Though I've never seen an elephant and a giraffe in an altercation before. I've seen other elephants having an altercation, buffalo and elephants, and also I've seen rhino and elephants having altercations. Now, Paula, you're wondering if that giraffe is pregnant? It's very far away. Can we go up to its head very quickly? I just wanted to make sure. It does look like it could be a female. Hey, she's got quite sort of thick ossicones, and just typically a male, but looking at her coloration, maybe it's a girl. It's hard to tell. She could be, she couldn't be. And they do have a bit of a bulge, obviously, from their bellies. They're quite round around the midsection. From here, it's a bit difficult. But yes, I don't see any balding. No, I think it is a female. You've got to be sure, though, because sometimes you look at a giraffe and think, yep, female, and then it'll be a young male that just hasn't quite grown into himself just yet. Sometimes a bit deceiving. A couple of oxpeckers also just flying off the giraffe, not from the elephant. You can actually still hear them. It might be a bit too far away from here, but it looks like they're hanging around. Where are they jumping? Because I can hear them. No, I don't know where they are. So I'm wondering if it's going to be worth hanging around here, because these lions are... I think this is the end of the day. I think that they are going to go to sleep now. Yeah, they don't really look like they're going to move, are they? Okay. What are you watching, girls? I think they're watching the giraffe now. And they're also watching the elephant. We'd be more interested in the giraffe, though, because that's potentially could go on the menu. But I don't think they're going to do anything. I think we're going to move on. I think I'm going to go and find other lions. I think that's going to be my idea. I have no tolerance for sitting with flat cats that are far away in a non-off-roading area. Also, I hope that there's no cars behind me because I can't see. I'm just going to go with it until I hear a bang. The technique we like to use here in the Mara. Bye, lions. Maybe you'll be more fun this afternoon. I think the reason why I'm saying this is because I was so spoiled the other afternoon. We had that amazing sighting with the Angama cubs. They were all playing and trying to climb trees and chasing one another for pretty much the entire afternoon. So when they're far away like that, it's not that great. So we'll go find some more. Just got to navigate some of these bumpy roads and try and get away from the crowds. That's exactly what we're going to do. I think we might go do a loop around the marsh first and then go back that way and come back past the airstrip for the end of drive and try and look. Maybe we won't even get to the Mara River. Is that spider webs on that tree? Let me have a quick look. There's a beautiful big tree just standing in the distance. I cannot really see it. All I can see is there's a no, not that one. The one that is that the one that's standing all on its own, closest to us. Yeah, a little bit to the right. Yeah, there's a big tree. Look at those spider webs. Yeah, that's amazing. Look at that. I wonder if those aren't community net. Oh no, there's some all black webs there. It must be a combination of spiders living around there. That's the first time I've seen that here. Beautiful, lots of crevices and little branches for them to attach their web. But we'll keep searching for some other lions and who knows what other interesting things we might find. Let's go back across to Scott.
Everyone. Oh, my earpiece has fallen out. Oh, where has it gone? Sorry, not sure what happened there, but this needs to be plugged in. Otherwise I cannot hear what Kirsty is telling us. Apologies. I'll be just a second. Very good. So, this is the general area where Scar, a big male lion, likes to hang out. Taylor had him a little bit up ahead of where we are now, but I'm going to try and guess his movements and stick along the river road because he often likes to spend time along the river. So, hoping we're going to find him. Failing that, there's some lady lions who he comes across here to visit, who may well be looking. Yeah. Just going to have a quick scan with the binoculars out in that direction, just to make sure he's not out there. But it just seems like a lot of general game, topi, zebra, Tommies. Hello, Christy. You'd like to know when was the last time any of us saw... Oh, flying shot, Manu, get them. There goes some Egyptian geese. Well done. The last time Malika was seen, I'm guessing, was sometime in the last week. I'm fairly certain Brent has spent some time with her. But I've been away. Yesterday was my first day back in the saddle, and I'm not too sure on the finer details, but I'm almost 99% certain that they did spend time with her and her two boys within the last week. And you'll be happy to hear that at least myself, possibly Taylor, will be heading across onto the other side of the river this afternoon. Well, we'll head across midday, so we're in time for the afternoon drive. It takes a couple of hours to get across, and the hope is to spend time with Cheetah across there. Taylor may stay at Sala's camp down in the south and spend some time with the Black Rock Pride, but I'm going to continue my plight to try and spend as much time with Cheetah as possible. And the clock is ticking. I've only got 2 more weeks here before I head back to Djuma. So I'm looking forward to trying and making the most of it. Possibly a few more nights out sleeping on the roof. Actually, haven't had a chance to sleep on the roof since we've redone the rain covers. There's a mattress that's wedged between the rain cover and the roof itself, so it's basically always just ready to be used. We just need to jump on top with the blankets and a pillow and snooze away. So hopefully Malaika, the musketeers, any cheetah really, whoever's the best option for us will be the one that we decide to spend time with. I find it funny how often animals get scared by warthogs. Am I dreaming, or did I just see something else though? I have seen a few warthogs running to our right, but I saw another cat-like movement. So there could be a cat somewhere around us, but it's the warthogs that often make animals like Topi scared. There you see the warthog running there. Now warthog in long grass could look lion-like to a Topi, because all they'll see is the ears and the head. I can hear a lion roaring. I thought I could hear a lion roaring. And I'm still not sure. I'm just going to have to stand up. I'm a bit low. Just want to see. There's something moving through the grass there to the right of where those warthog are, Manu. Maybe it's just another warthog. Maybe just like the Topi, I'm also getting confused. I just want to give it a second. Let's have a look at those two warthog. I'm going to just sit down because it looks like they may be thinking about having a bit of a fight. They're kind of sizing one another up. Well, from me thinking I saw a cat, thinking I heard a cat, I may have been wrong on all accounts. Just want to make sure though, because when a cat is being sneaky and stealthy, they're obviously very tricky to see, and in the sea of long grass, it's the perfect place for them to disappear. Okay, well, the coast does seem clear for now. So let us venture forth. Let's actually wait a second. Keep the camera on this Topi. I'm just not 100% sure that there wasn't something sneaking up in this grass and something could jump on its back at any moment. Alright, well, considering where the Topi's got to now, I think whatever I did see was me imagining things. So let's send you off to Tristan, who's probably far more likely of finding you something rather than me just guessing.
Well, I don't know, Scotty. I'm also having my own problems in finding animals this morning. This leopard has just vanished. Poof, gone. There's no sign of it anywhere. We're trying to look everywhere. It's also, the problem is that it's not one of our young boys who are far more kind of relaxed and move a lot slower. It seems as though it is a female and she was on a serious mission apparently. Now, there is at least some predator that's having a tough morning like I am as well. It is being bombarded by a rather brazen fork-tailed drongo, which is now settled right next to it for some reason. Now, which bird of prey it is, I'm not 100% sure. Quite difficult to see against the light like that, but maybe it's a Wahlberg, so I'll have to get my binoculars out and have a thorough look. Tough to say, because all I've got is a brown body with leaves across the face, so difficult to know who exactly it is. There is a Wahlberg's pair that nests not far from here, so it could be one of them. It could also be, a brown snake eagle. It's got quite a round, robust head. I wonder, there's a road that goes actually a bit closer there on the other side, so might be worth just checking that side. Hold on, let's go around quickly. Let's have a look and just see if we can get round. If we get round, maybe we can get a better idea on what this bird actually is. I think it is a Wahlberg's, like I say. I think it's the right area for one, but it's against the light, so it's a little bit difficult, and also, like I say, the branches were all across the face, and that makes it a lot harder to be able to see. So I'm just going to quickly get up this way. Also, it's a good place to be looking for this leopard. If it was mobile north from the eastern side of the Mulawati, we're on the right track, well, the right places. And what's this? Hold on. There is tracks for leopard all over the place here, going up and down. So I want to look at those more carefully now. Let's just quickly jump up and have a little look at this bird, and then I can focus on these leopard tracks. I don't know, these leopard tracks look like they might be from yesterday, but there's tracks all over the road here, so maybe there's some sort of a kill nearby. I do also need to just let Andrew know. Yeah, Andrew, there's Nkonzo for Ingwe all over the road here. I don't know, you can have a little look. I'm just going to look at this nyoni in the tree here. So while Andrew has a little look, and there we go. Now, Wahlberg's is going to be my guess. It's got a little crest. You see the little feathers just poking up off the top of the head, and then that yellow sear. So that's what I'm going to go with. Yes, most definitely a Wahlberg's eagle. That's why it's probably getting quite a hard time from the drongos, although the drongos don't seem to discriminate. It tends to be if you're bigger than me, then it tries to bully and tries to go after you. And this Wahlberg's will be just sitting and waiting for the sun. It's at the end of the day still a coolish morning, and so once the sun is up and thermals are going, then you'll find it'll be up and flying and trying to hunt. And these guys are incredibly good hunters. They hunt on the wing, so they use basically their long tail to balance them, and they can swoop into these incredible stoops towards prey animals and grab them. Now, their favorite prey animal is red-billed quellias. That's what they like the most, and there's quite a number of those around, but they won't discriminate and won't only take those. They'll also go after doves. They'll go after any small passerine, and so they've got quite a wide variety of food items that they do go after. And so he's just waiting for a little bit of heat before he decides to start flying and actually going at it and tracking things down. But what interests me is just the number of leopard tracks that I just saw back there. It almost looks like it's shadow and cubs tracks, because they look like a very small leopard track in amongst them all as well. So I'm going to try and just investigate here a little bit more. Now, the leopard that crossed, I think, was Thandi, if I imagine where it came from, although Shadow has been starting to spend a little time in this area as well, so it's possible that Shadow maybe, just maybe, has also moved in and maybe had a kill here somewhere, and that's why her little one was around, and now she's coming back to fetch her, the little one. I'm not quite sure. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I just want to check up ahead here because it's nice and sort of powdery, and maybe we can get a better sign. Mita, who's 8 years old. Hello, Mita. You want to know if I've seen Shadow and the cub recently? Mita, I haven't. I haven't seen the cub for quite some time, and since Byron was here and we had her on that impala kill, which was, I think, about 10-12 days ago, so almost 2 weeks since we last saw the cub. Shadow herself, we saw, I think it was about 5 days ago, somewhere around there. Maybe a little bit longer, I don't know. Time all melts into one another, Mita. I'm getting old, so it's difficult for me to remember, but I think it was somewhere around there, maybe a week ago at most. And then she was seen about 3-4 days ago by the other guides in the area. They saw her not far from where we are now, and she was just resting and taking it easy. And so she's around, and they both seem to be healthy, but the cub I haven't seen for quite some time, Mita. And hopefully this morning that will break that drought and we'll be able to see this little one. Now, the tracks I want to show you are up in front here. Hopefully they haven't been driven over by this other vehicle, because that will be a bit sad, because they're nice little tracks to show. show, and very, very, very cool to see, because ultimately we don't get to see small leopard tracks very often. And I think it was a small leopard track. Like I say, I've got to just double check, because I was too busy focusing on the eagle and the oncoming traffic and updating everybody that I didn't really look very well, so I need to just double check. But the problem is, the more the vehicles drive here, the harder it's going to be for me to actually see the tracks nice and clearly. So we don't want to drive too much over these tracks, so I'm just trying to kind of get my wheels off the road a little bit, so that when I'm driving I can actually find what I'm looking for. Now the track should be on this left side here, hopefully somewhere around there. Let's have a look. I'm going to get out quickly and just go and have a little scan around and check what's happening. Now of course I should be going around the front of the car, but I'm going to get spiked by a spike thorn, so I'm going to go around the back. So I do apologize about this, and you will not see me for 2 seconds, but I am back around this side. Sorry Senzo, that's not your fault at all. Now I'm just trying to check where I can show you the best possible footprint, but there is one that is here. I'm going to just circle it for you. So there is a very small track. If I put my hand like this, look at how small that is. That, I'm sure, is Shadow's cub. So you've got 1, 2, 3 lobes at the back, 1, 2, 3, 4 over there, and that would be the track for the cub. Now the only other track that I could think would be this size would be the track for the little Nkuhuma cubs as well. So I just want to double check and make 100% sure that there's not a sort of female lion track anywhere in amongst all of this, but that is most definitely a very small track. And so it's difficult with leopard and lions, because those tiny little cubs that we saw from the Nkuhuma pride are still very little, and unfortunately they would leave a track very similar to Shadow's cub size. So I just want to double check and make sure, but that's a small little track and it's going down towards the Mulawati, so we're going to go and just have a little check around, see if I can find some more tracks somewhere in this area. Maybe there's a kill somewhere, maybe she just left the cub here and she's going to come fetch it at some point. So that's going to be their plan anyway. Now I just want to get round again. I do apologize. Sorry Sens, sorry everybody. Kirsty might shout at me if I do that again. Next time I must remember not to park near the spike thorns. At the end of the day, the spike thorns are not a friendly bush to walk through. If it had been something else, I would have just walked through the bush, but spike thorn, not pleasant at all. Right, I wonder where to check now. I'm just trying to think where else could be a good place to go. I've checked down this road towards, there was a little mud wallow there and water hole that often used to be used, so I've checked that area. I'm just trying to think where the next best section could be, because this little cub obviously would be anywhere here. It could be hidden all over the place, and if mom's gone it's going to be tough to find it. But it could be that maybe they've gone somewhere into the Mulawati, so I'll check around the Mulawati. I don't think anyone's checked here, and we'll have a little look, maybe we get lucky. Right, now I'm going to kind of scratch around, as I say, and try and figure out which way is my next move and which way I'm going to head in order to try and find these spotted beautiful cats. And while I do that, Taylor McCurdy is gazing upon a bird through the reflective lenses of her sunglasses.
How cool is this? It's a bird that I have not seen for a very, very long time. I actually can't remember the last time I saw a spur-winged goose, and it's all on its own. This is really cool. Sure, I think did I see them at Sabi when I was guiding nothing? I don't think I've seen one at Djuma. I don't think I've seen a spur-winged goose since I've been at Safari Live, but it's amazing nonetheless. Just feasting away. Oh, that's cool. I wonder if it is. Yeah, it is. Obviously it is, because there's no other goose out there in Africa that is as large as this fella. And it looks like, I wonder if it's maybe a male. Females tend to be a little bit more brown in color and don't have that sort of white patch on their face like you can see that this one has. And it's on its own. Typically they're in pairs as well. They are monogamous. Oh, this is amazing. That was the last thing that I thought we would see out here, is a beautiful big spur-winged goose. Now, I wonder why. Is it breeding season? I'm actually just having a quick look at my book. I don't know. I haven't seen this bird in such a long time. I feel like I've forgotten everything about him. I need to check breeding, because when they aren't breeding, they normally form big flocks. So I wonder if this one has just been off course somewhere. Maybe it's got left behind. But of course I can't read. I can't do anything today. My eyes are really in absolute pain. Okay, I'm not going to be able to tell you because everything is very blurry in my book. So I'm not going to read it to you, but it is one of the largest, it is the largest goose we get in Africa. So that's quite nice. I'm going to carry on. We're basically in the marshy area now, and it is very wet down here. But we haven't had any more rain. I think it's just from the cars all coming through here. They've now churned up the mud quite a bit. But hopefully we don't get stuck. I think we should be okay though. This becomes a problem when too many vehicles, and especially if you get like a big overlanding truck or something to come through here. What's going to happen is the ground's going to sink right down, and then you can get stuck on your chassis, which is not a good idea. I'm so sorry, Kirst. I have absolutely no idea what you want me to do. I only got a little bit of that. My volume was turned a bit down while we were stationary. Oh, there we go. Ah, very nice. Right, so we started off with some lions. Tristan's having no luck with cats, however, Scott has got some down by the river.
Yes, we've got lucky, and we found who I'm guessing are a few members of the Paradise Pride. They are on the opposite side of the river to where we are, so sadly we can't get close to them. There's the second one and the third one. Oh, and a fourth one at the base of the tree. Someone's just poked its head up. And we stopped in this area. There was a few zebra that were kind of getting quite worked up. I'm not sure if it was an intra-species debate or if something had actually spooked them. And while we were scanning around with the old binoculars, we got to see these guys. This one that we're looking at now keeps looking back in that direction. Check the ostriches in the background. And I'm not sure why she keeps looking there. I'm not sure if it's possible prey or, who knows, maybe Scar, who's dominant over the lioness within this area. Very good. Now, if we just take a quick scan across to some zebra, they are moving slowly towards the lion. And who knows, if they come down to the river and try and cross, and this is one of the zebra's favorite crossing points, the lions are going to definitely swoop in and try and make the most of this opportunity. So some good prospects for the lions. And while we wait for those prospects, there's one of my favorite birds that I actually haven't seen since we've been in the Mara, just sitting on the water's edge. Some white-faced whistling ducks. Alongside them is what I think is a green shank, but I'm not 100% sure. It's also Kirsty who's directing the show's favorite bird, so hopefully I'm getting some brownie points by showing them to you. They've got a wonderful call that goes something like this. Maybe a bit more whistle and a little bit less air. Mine was quite an airy one there. But aren't they pretty? Maybe they're getting ready for a flight. They're all kind of waddled forward there, and it's usually when they fly that you get to hear them to call. Ooh, please fly and call for us. It would be absolutely wonderful if you guys decide to do that. Come on. Maybe they're cautious of the old crocodilians lurking in the depths. Lots of big crocodiles lurk along this river. I'm feeling quite confident that we're going to get some good action out of the lions and the zebra. The lions are all still heads up. They don't look like they're too full-bellied. I mean, it's not easy to tell from here. But just but judging by how intent they're looking, I think we may get lucky. And this lady over here, I'm having faith in being the ringleader. The zebra, though, still have quite a long way to move before they get into an applicable spot for the lions. And judging by the way these zebra are acting, I've got a feeling they do want to cross over. There's quite a large herd of zebra. We can't see them from where we are, but on our side of the river. So these guys may be wanting to get across them. Hello, to ask me, you'd like to know, why do we get zebras in Africa but not wild horses? I'm actually not sure where wild horses really occur, but a zebra is a wild horse. It's an equine, so it's just painted differently to most regular horses. So it's part of the same family as most horses you'll get all around the world. This is just the African version. So I'm not sure which of our river cams are actually working at the moment. So I think two of them are. I'm not sure if there's one basically slightly downstream of where we are and one slightly upstream of where we are positioned. But it could be that the two that are here aren't the ones that are actually functioning. We used to have 4 that were working, but they've been battered by the elements and by some animals that have run into them. And I mean, the fact that the animals have run into them, we need to obviously be cautious that it's not our fault, but the cameras are certainly not positioned in the way. It's just the chaos and frenzy of the crossings cause animals to, just run into bushes and banks, which they ordinarily wouldn't do. Interestingly, there's also some topi that are coming down on our left here, and maybe they are going to be leading some zebra down to a crossing. That would be wonderful. There they are. So the large herd of zebra that we saw initially on our side of the river was just kind of behind the bushes to the right of these topi. And I'm very interested to see how much crossing occurs outside of the actual migration, because I think we may have misread how it all works here. And a lot of the time we said the crocodiles don't feed for months. Well, they may not have the buffet of the migration to feed on for months on end, but there's certainly going to be toing and froing of topi, Thompson's gazelle, and zebra across this river outside of the migration. And there you can see a zebra is following them down. So it looks like we may be in a promising situation to see a crossing. I've yet to see a decent one with you guys filmed from a vehicle. We've got lots of incredible stuff from the river cams, but not so much from the vehicles. Let's take a quick look at the lions, Manu. Sorry, the ones on the termite mound. There's all of a sudden 3 there. Off to the left. Yeah, there we go. So it looks like quite a large pride of lion. There's 3 there. And definitely another 2 that I can see right now, but I think some others are just beyond the ridge where we can't see them. So now I need to think about where to position the vehicle so that we've got a good spot for these lions. And while I work out what to do and try and be in the best position for both the lions and a possible crossing, we are going to send you across to Tristan, who has found some lions of his own.
I have indeed. So those cub tracks were not for Shadow's cub, but for the little ones, which is what I surmised at one point as well. And there they're going. They're just moving away from us and walking through the bush. But they are the cutest little things. Look at them. Look how little they are. It's all been baby things the last couple hours. We've had, well, the last 12 hours, should we say. We've had the little lapwings. We've had, plovers. I don't know why I keep saying lapwings. It's one of those things that keeps getting stuck in my mind. But we've had the little plovers, we've had the little baby hippo, and now we've got tiny little lion cubs who are super cute. Now, the chances of us keeping up with these guys is probably very slim. Well, not slim, we'll be able to keep up with them, but they are going to cross into Arethusa at some point because they are moving straight in that direction. She's marching these little ones along, and shame, these poor little cubs have done some kilometers already as little ones, but look at them bouncing along through the grass after mom. They're still so small, and they kind of trying to get into a situation where they are trying to keep up with her. She's just ambling, but for them they have to jog to try and keep up, and look how small they are in comparison to her. They don't even go above her tail just yet. They're kind of just around that little black tail, and maybe it's because they also want to play with it. It's almost like dangling a carrot in front of a donkey. It's kind of that situation, but they are super cute, these little ones. There we go, bouncing along. Off you go. Catch up with mom. Shame, they must be getting tired. They've walked a long way. They've walked all the way from Torchwood. That's where their first track is, because Aubrey is on Torchwood boundary, and he said he just picked up their track there. And then they've come all the way down Mamba, across towards Philemon's, and now they're mobile kind of towards Philemon's cut line and towards Zoe's road. So they really are walking a long way, and she's going to keep walking them until she gets back to the Pride, which is, I'm not quite sure where exactly the Pride is at the moment. Yesterday they were quite close to the Londolozi boundary and Elephant Plains area, so they were a long way away. So I hope she's not going to walk them all that way, because these are going to be very tired little cubs if she does. But I believe a lot of you are very happy to see these little cubs. Well, you and me both. I haven't really spent much time with lions in the last few weeks, and these little Nkuhuma cubs are just so cute. And we had them for a while, and they kind of were at these random den sites, but she kept moving them, and so it's so nice that hopefully we're going to get at least a decent sighting with them. The only problem is I don't really like following the little cubs through these areas, because they get a little bit kind of nervous of the vehicles and the crashing of the bush, and so I suppose it is all part of them learning that we're not something to worry about. And of course mom is in no way worried, but it makes a lot of noise, and I just feel like sometimes they get a little stressed by it, so I don't really want to have to crash through too much bush. So what I'm hoping is that she takes these little ones onto Philemon's Cutline Road, and then we don't actually have to worry too much. We can just drive behind them on the road itself, which will be far less noise and far more pleasant for everyone involved. But there they go, they're just coming on my right hand side now. They're sort of bouncing along. Keep up, little ones. Mom's not stopping for anything. Norm, you're asking, weren't there 3 cubs? Yes, there were 3 cubs. Unfortunately, one is gone. What happened, we don't quite know, but it's thought to be a crocodile that got one. They had a giraffe kill very close to a really large dam that had a big crocodile in it. They were seen there that night with the 3 cubs and drinking around that dam, and the next morning when they moved away from the dam, there was only the 2 of them. So it seems to be that it was a crocodile. Of course, it could have been something like a hyena. It's also possible, but it seems as though it was a croc that got them, which is not uncommon. It does happen. I've seen crocodiles taking little cubs before. The crocodile is very opportunistic, and if a little cub plays too close to water, then this is what happens. And mom will have learned a valuable lesson from that. Next time she has cubs, she'll definitely move them. Now I believe Taylor's got something, so let's quickly jump across to her.
We've just found this lioness. We raced over, and she is probably about 30 meters away from a very big warthog that I don't think has any idea that she's there. A little bit to the, can you see the warthog? The warthog is there, just off to, where did it go? I don't know where the, oh, there it is. It's gone far to the right. I think it spotted her, just running off onto the right-hand side. No, you got to go further. Near the, okay, you've gone too far. Go to the left a little bit. Keep going, I'll tell you when to stop. Oh, there it goes. Oh, no. She ran. I saw something in the distance. It was... Let me go closer. I thought it was a leopard, the way it was moving. I couldn't really see it, so I asked Jahawi to quickly zoom in. And I didn't understand what this lioness was doing until we came right around the corner. And that warthog must have spotted her, though. She was quite exposed. There's very long grass here. I mean, very short grass. Oh, that's a pretty girl. But there's plenty warthogs that side. I feel like you missed your opportunity. And this is one of the lionesses that we see on a regular basis within this area. Hello, beautiful girl. She's a stunning cat. And I think it could be... There's two of them that live around here. I don't know which... I think they just live on their own, the two of them in the marsh. I've seen them from a hot air balloon. We've seen them a few times. And I think this is one of the lionesses that we're carrying an ostrich egg with Jamie. I don't know where her partner in crime is, though. However, we've seen one of them feeding on a warthog, a little warthog. She's hungry, though. She's so beautiful. Lots of flies around her eyes, though, but she's not letting that bother her at the moment. She's so focused on looking for something to eat. Oh, that's such a pity. I don't think she's got the wind in her favor at the moment. I think what had happened, the direction that she'd come from, I think her scent was swirling. Because when I saw that warthog, he was looking around. And we stopped quite a distance away. She just wasn't quick enough, I'm afraid. And the warthog outplayed her then. I don't think she had everything on her side today. She didn't have the sun in her favor. She didn't have the wind in her favor. But good attempt, though. I believe she managed to run up to it and get that close. The warthogs do that. They sometimes, unfortunately, leave it till the last second. Now she's looking around to see if she can find something else that she can go and stalk. Hopefully she sticks near these roads, though, because if she doesn't, we're going to lose her, as it is still a non-off-roading area. But lovely and lean. Very athletic, this cat. I can't believe that. There's giraffe. Do you want to go catch a giraffe? Maybe, I don't know. I'm just looking around at the moment. I'm slowly making my way home to go to the doctor, just so that you all know. Just looking to see if there's anything else. There's another warthog that's just running over there. There's quite a few pigs. There's lots of waterbuck. I don't know where she's going to go now. Wonderful. I thought we were going to get a hunt there for a second. Sorry, everybody. Anyways, let's jump back all the way across to South Africa with the Nkuhuma Lioness and her two adorable cubs.
Well, look at this. They're now on the road and they are the sweetest things. Hopefully we'll stay on the road itself, because that will allow us at least to be able to watch them waddling away without hitting too many trees. No, Mom's decided that's not happening. We're going into the bush again, so little ones are going to have to bundle over sticks and branches and all kinds of other nonsense to be able to keep up with Mom. So super cool to see, though, the little ones. They are tiny, and it's most definitely their tracks that I saw earlier. I thought that it was maybe Shadow's cub, but it's most definitely the tracks for these little ones. And there they go. They're just meandering off in a little clearing now. Oh, a little bit of a fight. And so this so cute. I think they're tired, though. You can see they're panting quite a bit and they're slowing up. They're not really running as much, and like I say, Mom has walked them really far, and I believe the rest of the pride is on Arathusa somewhere, so they, I think, going to be dragged all that way, and Mom's going to take them a long distance still. It's not going to end anytime soon, but this is the life of a little cub, unfortunately, is that you get left behind in hunting times, and then you've got to catch up wherever the pride may be. Also, this female, it's her first time that she's a mother, and so she doesn't really probably understand everything that's going on, and she's trying to figure out techniques that work for her, and that she'll do by kind of learning and processes that go on. So theoretically she doesn't really have to walk these cubs all the way back, but maybe she just feels better if they're close by, especially if she's lost one. She might have a situation where she's just a little bit more kind of aware of the fact that she needs to keep the little ones as close by as possible. But there we go. And she's looking absolutely beautiful as well. She's, oh, little one, you want to sit in the shade for a bit? Shame. Mom is making you walk too much. Here she comes. Like I say, her condition is fantastic. She looks really good. The cubs look fat and healthy, so everybody is looking properly good at the moment. And here come the little ones. Hey guys. You're starting to calm down a bit now. It's nice when she stops for a little bit, because it means that at least we can get a situation where we can actually watch them and see these little ones up close. Now I'm hoping that as they come past I can see if they're little males or females. I think the front one looks like, oh, difficult to say without them sitting still for 2 seconds. But the back one looks like a little male, so the one right at the back, he looks like a little male. I might be wrong though, right? It's difficult. They don't stand still for long enough, and the front one looks like maybe a little female. So it looks like maybe one female, one male, but not confirmed. I'll have to just double check it again just now. But most certainly they look as though there is a little male in there. The back one seems to have what looks like little testicles hanging underneath his tail, but I can't really see very well. They're bouncing around too much. Hopefully they settle down somewhere here, and then I'll be able to actually see them a little bit better, to be able to work out exactly what is what and who is who. But it'll be nice if there's another female in the pride. That definitely means that she'll be able to kind of settle in and continue the growing of the pride and getting it back into a big unit. OD farming, why you asking why she's separated from the pride? Well, the reason she's separated from the pride is because what happened was she probably left her cubs where they were sleeping on Torchwood 2 days ago to go off and hunt, and so she's gone off hunting and she's gone towards the pride. Now the pride might have a kill at the moment, and that's why she's now gone back to go and fetch them and take them to where the pride will be static. Also, at the end of the day, you might find a situation that she knew after 2 days she needs to go and suckle these little ones, and so she has a situation that she needs to get into that area. Oh, hello, catch up. Yeah, definitely a little male, this one at the back. So you can see it's a little male clearly now. His little testicles are. He's definitely a boy. And then the front one looks like a little girl. So one boy, one girl, which is a perfect little thing to have. Like I say, it's going to be good for the one male that is in the Nkuhuma pride already. He's a year old, and so adding another male to the mix, even though this one will be a year younger, will still be able to probably leave with that male, and the two of them together stand a much better chance than if it was just one by itself. And at the end of the day, a lot of other male lions in this area, and so if you can form a coalition with a sibling, that's certainly going to help a little bit. But so she basically might have just gone and suckled them, and now she's just taking them a little bit closer to where the pride is so that she doesn't have to walk as far to go and suckle every time. It's not that she's split away from the pride. She was with the pride yesterday, so it's just that she's now gone to go and fetch the cubs to keep them fed and happy and healthy, and make sure that they are not in a situation where they lose too much condition. At this age, they've got to feed regularly and they've got to have milk, and so she needs to kind of keep going back and forth between the pride. Remember, the pride doesn't really care for these two cubs that much. They need to eat, and so their sort of mission is to try and find food all the time. It's not to wait for little cubs to catch up and to feed and then get back, and so that's why she has to go back and forth herself or on her own, and then the pride will kind of do their own thing. The thing is, last year it was a little different, is because 3 females all denned at the same time, and so that was the majority of the pride. And you would have noticed that this young female and Amber Eyes actually spent a long period of time apart from the other 3, and they would walk around and go and do their own thing. But those 3 tend to stay quite close because, well, they all had cubs of a similar age, and it made sense for them to be close to the cubs, and that's why they didn't leave Djuma for those 84 days or whatever it was. They were always around, and that's the reason, is that the majority of the pride had cubs, and that meant that everybody kind of stayed together. Now it's getting quite dense here, so I'm just gonna let them drift a little bit from me and let them go a little further, just so that I'm not crashing right behind them. I know we won't get many visuals of them as we do that, but it's going to be better for them getting more relaxed. Meter, AJ? Yes, Meter, they are eating meat. We had them the other day on a kudu kill at Chitwa, and they were tucking into a kudu, and they were really starting to relish the taste of meat. They obviously are not eating a lot of it. They're preferring mom's milk, but they will still eat a little bit of meat, and then they are slowly but surely getting taught to eat meat. Come on. There we go. Over we go. Now, I'm just going to try and, like I say, give them a bit of distance while there's lots of vegetation, because ultimately I don't want the little cubbies to stress about us and ever get sort of scared of us, because if they get scared of us, then later they start to not want to be anywhere near us, whereas if we just be a bit respectful and we give them a bit of space, you can see they're not then too perturbed by us. So she should just cross straight in front of us, and we're heading towards that new road, and then from the new road Triple M will be fairly close from there. So I would say maybe another 20 minutes or maybe 15 and she'll be off onto the other side. But how cool is this? What a special surprise this morning. I didn't think we would see these guys. I thought they were actually already across in Arathusa, and so I didn't expect us to see any lions this morning. I heard that they were very far away, and so I thought we wouldn't see. But to see the little cubbies and watch them walking with mom is an absolute treat. It's also nice to see these little ones being active, because often you find them in the pride and they suckling and then they have a little nap. So to see them being walked around with mom is absolutely priceless. Now they are quite far away, so let's try and keep up again and get back into that area. At least it's opened out a bit again. I just kind of go through these groves of thickets that I have to kind of bypass, and so every now and then it gets thick and then it opens out into this nice sort of clearing stuff. When it's like this, it's much better. The off-roading is a lot easier and far less intrusive when it's a little bit more open. But shame, these little ones are probably going to have a serious nap this afternoon. First a good suckle of milk to replace all the nutrients and hydrate again after walking so far. A good nap, I would imagine. I wonder if that's going to influence their size. I was thinking about this the other day, because cubs generally don't get marched all over the place and have to move as much as what these little ones have had to do over the last few weeks. I mean, these guys have traveled. They've gone to Ottawa, they've been to Londolozi, they've gone into the Manyeleti, Buffelshoek, Torchwood, Chitwa, Djuma, so they've covered some serious ground for those little legs, and I wonder if that's going to make them more muscular and bigger later in life. If they keep walking like this, ultimately they are getting a lot of exercise, and I wonder if that coupled with really good nutrition might mean that they're going to be really bulky individuals a little bit later. It'll be interesting to know. I think it'll probably be a situation where they will be quite big when they get a little bit older. Anyway, they come from good stock. The Nkuhuma Pride is not a small bunch of lions at the end of the day either. Absolutely wonderful. Come on. Must be tough for them as well in this long grass. It must be a lot harder to walk in this than mom. You can see mom, she's just ambling along, and the little ones are having to kind of run to keep up with her. It's quite fun to watch. Super cute though. Right. Judy, you're asking, does the car make them nervous? Well, not really. Mom is absolutely relaxed. She's not once turned at us. She's not once given us an indication that she's worried about our presence. She hasn't growled. She hasn't swished her tail. She hasn't kind of been in any way aggressive towards us. The cubs probably are a little bit kind of like, what is this big object that's following me around? But they're getting used to it. At the end of the day, if you see when we stop, they don't really care about us at all. The little cubs run around with mom. They're not really too fussed about us, and it's why I'm giving them quite a wide berth at times. So I'm trying not to get too close unless we're on a road or something like that where we have a little bit more open space, then the cubs won't worry as much. But I'm trying to just give them a little bit of room so that they can walk and they can kind of go on their own way, and I don't have to crunch through bushes and scare them. But they're not too bad. I mean, really the running that you're seeing is a lot more just to try and keep up with mom. You can see mom leaves them behind, so both of them were together with mom, and then she walks, and she's far too kind of big and her strides are much larger than theirs, so they have to trot to try and kind of keep up with mom all the time. And it's not actually that they're running away from us, they're just trying to get back onto mom's sort of tail area and to try and stay nice and close. At the end of the day, if they drift away from mom, there's a lot of danger for them. Right, I'm going to try and keep up with them a little bit longer before they cross over into Arathusa. While I do that, Taylor Mack, who I think is still battling a little with her eye and is probably in a little bit of discomfort, has her sunglasses on and is driving through the beautiful Maasai Mara.
A little bit like a rock star today, driving around with my sunglasses, being given special privileges. So we left our lioness. She's in a very awkward spot. She's still looking around for something, and there are lots of animals, but it's basically, if you have a scan, she's moving in stuff like this. It's very, very thick. I'll just slow down quickly. And with it being in a non-off-roading area, we were quite far away from the road as is, which was not ideal. It's a pity, but this is a gamble. And of course, the same thing happens to us in Sabi Sands, where we really don't have any restrictions, you know, other than not off-roading over sodic sites, and when it's too wet, we don't off-road. And you can miss things all the time. But also, I do apologize, it's got to do with my eyes a little bit as well. A bit worried about them. I kind of need them for this job, hey? So I'm slowly making my way home. There's a lovely herd of elephants coming up, which we'll stop and have a look at. Actually going to come, hopefully, right past the car, which will be quite nice. They're about to cross paths with one of the vehicles. Just find a nice spot. That elephant's getting very close to that car. Oh, that's funny.